Hello, I'm Roxanne. How are you? Do you know why you're here? What are you looking to get out of this video? Do you have something to take notes on? What made you even click on this video? How long do you have? Are you sitting down? Wait, hold on, pause. That was so many questions, right? It almost felt like being in an interview and having so many questions thrown your way and so little time to think. Well, yes, you may have already guessed it. Today's quick set is all around getting you ready for any interview and giving you the tools to ace your interview on the go, wherever, whenever. So you know what to expect. Let me outline the structure of today's quick set. Firstly, I will talk you through different types of interview questions that you may be asked. Second, I will then ask you to pause the video and pick a question from the screen to practice an answer. Third, once you have answered, I will then speak to some of our amazing artists and ask them how to also answer one of the questions. And finally, I will then review the artist's answers as well as yours by giving you some top tips for elevating your answers and different ways to approach the questions. We will then repeat this format until we've covered 3 different interview question types. So let's begin. First and foremost, what are interviews? Interviews are essentially a structured conversation between you and a prospective employer or recruitment advisor. They can consist of a range of formal and informal questions, as well as a range of specialized questions or even activities. There are various ways for a prospective employer or recruitment advisor to interview you. And today we will focus on tips and tricks for answering interview questions, which are in person, virtual, in the style of a one-to-one, group interview, assessment center, or even online test. Standard questions. Let's start with some of the most common questions which you will be asked, and these can be labeled as standard interview questions. I've put some examples up on the screen. As you can see, tell me about yourself. How did you hear about this role? Why do you want to work here? What are your strengths as an individual? These are all examples of standard interview questions. Now I want you to pause this video and have a go at answering any of the questions you see on screen. So, how did it feel answering one of those questions? Was it easy? Did you find it a little tricky? Or did you even struggle with what to say about your own self? Well, however you found it, don't worry, we'll go into this shortly. I think now is a great time to bring our artists in and see how they answered one of these questions. Hey Mnelia, how are you?
Hello, love. I'm good, how are you?
Really well, thank you.
Good.
So, it's interview time. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
First one is tell me about your lovely self.
Well, I'm 23, I'm going to be 24 this year. 24 is my favourite number. From North West London. Started properly doing music when I think I was like 17, but really properly started doing music when I was 21. I'm a mum, I'm 5'4", I love sparkling water. I don't know, we could go anywhere with this.
I love that.
We could go anywhere with this.
Wow, that was a great answer. Did you see how they brought their response to life with energy and enthusiasm? Now I want to give you some top tips for answering some of these standard interview type questions. A lot of these questions will be focusing on you as an individual. They want to know who you are, your motivation for the role, and why you are the best candidate for it. It's important to think about standing out from the crowd. The first way to stand out from the crowd is to highlight your amazing portfolio. So this may include your CV, LinkedIn profile, or project-specific portfolio. You want to make sure that all things highlighted on your CV or LinkedIn profile are coming out in the answer to the recruitment advisor. Don't be afraid to highlight achievements. If you need help, on screen are some great videos to watch for helping you to boss your LinkedIn profile and think beyond your grades when writing a CV. Make sure to also check out Natalie's quick set, which is all about standing out from the crowd during the recruitment process. Or Mark's How to Be a Hit at Interviews, where he covers conduct and communication in interviews. Make sure you're speaking clearly and confidently when answering these questions. Remember, first impressions are very important. So don't be slouched over, looking elsewhere, or looking down at the floor. When you're answering these questions, adapt your communication style to suit the environment you're in. For example, if this is a virtual interview, make sure to be looking directly into the camera, straight at the recruitment advisor. If this is a face-to-face or an assessment center, make sure to be scanning the room and making eye contact with everyone involved. Lastly, remember to be confident. When you're being asked these questions, have confidence in your answers. But remember, don't be overly confident. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, so try to strike a great balance between the two. Here's a little tip. Practice with someone you trust to give you constructive feedback, and sign up with a mentor on Apprentice Nation to do an interview practice with. Let's move on to the next question type. Competency-based questions. Competency-based questions are very popular amongst recruitment advisors, and they are designed to get you to talk about a real-life scenario and how you displayed a specific skill. Here are some examples of competency-based questions. Describe a time when you worked as part of a team. Tell me about a big decision you made recently. Give me an example of a challenge you faced and how you overcame it. These are all examples of competency-based questions. Recruitment advisors will most likely always be looking to test you on the below competencies, which are essentially just skills. Take a picture or note down these competencies coming up on your screen. Depending on the role you're being interviewed for, prepare the relevant responses, which include bringing your experience in these competencies to life. Right, so you know how this goes already. Pause the video again and take a look at the screen. This time, maybe pick 2 questions you'd like to have a go at answering. Once answered, press play and we will continue. So how did you find that? Sometimes these questions can be a little tricky to answer, but fear not. I have some more top tips on the way. I don't know about you, but I think it's time to ask our artists one of these questions. Can you kind of describe a time where you've overcame a challenge in your life?
Probably starting music and not knowing where it could go, but putting faith into it and trying hard, even though it's not paying at the start, and obviously sacrificing other things that maybe would have gave me money or,
Yeah, of course. And would you say then that your faith kind of helped you overcome that challenge or kind of put it into perspective a little bit?
I think just being determined to be successful probably does help me a lot more.
Yeah, having that self-belief, for sure. Again, that was another great answer from our artists. Let's now think about some top tips for preparing and answering competency-based questions. The first tip is preparation. Now you know the main competencies that recruitment advisors will be looking for. Start recording examples of when you've used these skills. For example, I like to keep notes of a time when I worked as part of a team, or when I overcame a challenging situation, or even when I overcame adversity. This may sound odd at first, but think about it. If you start creating a large bank of examples of when you were adaptable, planned an event, used communication, or did a volunteer project, you won't be stuck thinking about examples in an interview. And better yet, you'll avoid the dreaded situation of making an answer up on the spot. So start writing things down. When you do them, you'll be able to create a long list that's easily accessible for you to update your CV with and glance at when preparing for your interview. The last tip I have here is using the STAR method to answer competency-based questions. The STAR method is on your screen now. It stands for situation, task, action, and result. By using this method, your answers will be a lot more concise and really focus on the main points and stop you from going on a tangent. Let's try a simple example. The question I'm going to try and answer is, describe a time when you worked as part of a team. Let's start with the situation. I like to think of this as setting the scene for a movie or a play. Situation. I was at work during a busy sell period and was selling a customer a pair of trainers. Task. What was the task at hand? Task. I needed to complete my sell in order to hit my individual sales goal by the end of the day. Action. What action did you take to work as part of a team? Remember not to forget the question. Action. I could see that my other colleague was struggling with multiple customers. Instead of ignoring the situation, I told my customer that I would be back shortly and went over to assist. Result. What was the result of your actions? As a result, I was able to help my own customer as well as my colleague's customer, and by working as part of a team and helping out, not only did I meet my own sales targets by 100%, but I helped my colleague to reach hers, which contributed further and increased success for the store. See how I broke down each step of my answer in the STAR method format? That's exactly what you'll need to do. Why don't you pause this video again and have another go before we move on to the final type of question you may be asked at an interview. Hopefully this time you've used the STAR method and your answers should sound a lot more structured. Right, let's move on to the final question type. This time I'm going to take you through examples of out-of-the-box interview questions. These are non-conventional questions, designed to make you think creatively and designed to see how you would react in certain situations. Let's look at some examples. If you had £1 million, what would you spend your money on? Can you sell me this pen? What's heavier, £10 of feathers or £10 of coins? You know the drill by now. Pause this video and have a look at some of the examples on screen. Pick 2 questions and have a go at answering them. How did you find answering these questions? It can feel strange to go from such a formal question to ones that are creative and less conventional. Let's take it back to our artists and see how they answered one of these questions. If you could do any other job in this world that isn't what you're doing right now, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, there's a couple things I like doing. I'd definitely be an entrepreneur because I like to do a million things. But I think I would do interior design.
Really?
Yeah.
Where does the passion for that come from?
I've always liked, since a kid, I would literally order stuff from IKEA and put it out myself, my wardrobe. I think the first time I put up a wardrobe, I think I was about 11, 12.
Bro, working early, love that.
And I had a bed, a wooden bed that I had to put up myself. So I'm very practical and very hands-on. And all around my house, I've done all the decor stuff. Me and my cousin, we've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff on the walls and stuff. So yeah, I like all that stuff.
I'll shout you next time I need my house done. Thank you so much, Steph. You've been amazing. Wow, I was not expecting that answer. Remember, when answering out-of-the-box interview questions, try to be creative and listen carefully. Did you notice that one of the questions I previously showed you on screen was actually a trick question? What's heavier, £10 of feathers or £10 of coins? Neither a feather nor coin are heavier as they're both £10. Therefore, it's super important to listen carefully to questions that aren't conventional, as the recruiter may be trying to see if you're actually listening. In other instances, it is also extremely important to be creative. If you had £1 million, think of your most creative and innovative answer. If you're stuck for creative ideas, remember we have lots of amazing videos here at Apprentice Nation. Specifically, I recommend Kaylee's quick set on harness your creative and innovative energy. Right, I think we've covered so much, but before we wrap up, on screen is a virtual checklist for preparing for any interview. If you use this checklist at any time you have an interview, coupled with the tips and tricks from this video, you'll boss that interview in no time. Let's go through this list. Be prepared. Practice, practice, practice. Be on time. If it's virtual or face-to-face, be ready or arrive at least 10 minutes early to get your head in the game. Have questions prepared to ask the interviewer. Why not ask them what their favourite part of their job is, or where they see the company going in the next 2 years? What makes a successful team member here? How long have you worked here? And why have you chosen this company? Think creatively. Use a range of sources to help you prepare. Research the company's website for inspiration, or check out Glassdoor, an amazing resource for finding out information about a company. Lastly, be yourself. You are amazing. Remember to showcase all your skills and stand out from the crowd. That's it. You're ready to boss your interview. Remember, we have tons of mentoring opportunities available here at Apprentice Nation. If you want to practice your interview skills, why not sign up for a mock interview with amazing companies such as BT and Lucozade? And guess what? I'm also a mentor, so sign up. Use this video over and over again to boss your interview. Thanks.